It's time to delve into the next session, which is something that I try not to get into too often, Metaverse. Long time ago, I think it's been 15 years ago, I got into something called Second Life. I think that's a very early version, my very non-nuanced way of understanding everything. It's like that's an early version of what we have. What is the metaverse today? Is used to be what I call Second Life, where you had your own avatar, you would do this, and we had a few training sessions built around that to say that your avatar will sit in the classroom, and I would be handling this, and I got into all of that, and sounded very exciting, and all that, but that's it. That is the extent to which I got into this metaverse. But obviously, there's a lot more to it, given the company Meta is investing what, like 80, 90% of their R&D budget into metaverse and building it, and there's so many others who are driving the whole technology. Um, so there's obviously a lot more to it. There's something that we all need to understand and learn from it. I certainly want to, because that is, if it's not the present already, it is going to be the future. And so we would all benefit from listening to some of the expert panelists here. I'd like to invite Sabina, Anand, Samantha, and Dr. Lara to step up here. Please have your seats. And if you have presentations, which is already loaded, on this laptop, we'll start running those presentations. Oh, Dr. Laura is not here yet, I think. She's not, yeah, sorry. So we are one panelist short, but that's fine. That's, I guess, the norm of the day today. But we'll all cope with it, and I'm sure these three expert panelists will be able to shed a lot of light and teach us everything that we need to know about the metaverse and its overlap with the IPR in a global level. So over to you guys. Thank you.
Hi, good afternoon, or good morning still, I believe. Thank you so much to the organizers for organizing this event. My name's Sabina. I'm a lawyer based in the United Kingdom, and I also do some aspects of work in the UAE. A Greek philosopher once said, "Nothing comes from nothing." And we are now in a situation where we have a digital world that's transforming literally from nothing. It's a revolution, a digital revolution that has the power to transform the world. And so today we're going to have an interactive session in which we are going to discuss potential issues such as how are IP rights protected in the virtual world in line with the real world, because the problem we have is that the regulations that are in place are not aligned with the virtual world. And so it's potentially a gray area that we want to dive into. The avatars that are within the metaverse, and just to go back to what the metaverse is, it's a digital world, and it's more than one world. So there will be many questions I'm sure you will have at the end or during. Please feel free to put your hands up, ask questions as we're going along. We want to make this as interactive as possible, so we're not speaking to you. We want you to be a part of this session as well. And my panelists today are Samantha Young from Hong Kong and Anand Verma from India. I'm going to allow them to introduce themselves to you, and after that we'll begin the session. Thank you so much.
Hi, everybody. This is Samantha. I'm a senior associate from Gowling WLG, currently based in Dubai. I was relocated from Hong Kong and practiced IP for over 10 years. And I specialize in all sorts of IP, brand protection, enforcement, and IP commercial, and really particularly interested in the tech, Web3, crypto space, helping a lot of clients protect online and offline of their IP rights. So I'm very excited to be sharing and discussing with all of you. And as Sabina mentioned, really looking forward to an interactive session with all of you. And I'm sure with this space, Metaverse space, which is still early in its development, I think there are a lot of issues that we can discuss and the gaps that we can identify and really be able to move forward and help our clients better protect their rights. So I'll also pass on to Anand.
Thank you, Sivena. Thank you, Samantha. And very good morning to all of you. I'm Anand Verma from India, and I am a founder of a legal edtech company by the name Let's Learn Law, and I also run my law firm by the name Team Legal in Delhi, India. I am working in the legal education part. So the topic which I have today is the metaverse. I would be emphasizing on how this metaverse is going to impact the businesses, the legal industry, and moreover the legal education, and what are the challenges of IP we are going to face in this metaverse world. So thank you, and to Sabina.
Thank you so much, Anand. I will begin by asking you the first question. So, can you just elaborate on how the metaverse is reshaping the tech landscape?
Yeah, if we talk about the metaverse as of now has not developed entirely, but some component of it are already into use, and the companies, the big business houses are already running behind this. So this metaverse is has a lot of potential, and as a legal professional, we need to harness that potential so that we can turn it into the advancement of those situations, so that our legal industry could be adaptive of those. Metaverse uh, is there are a lot of tools we need to use in the metaverse, and how first we need to understand as a legal professional the nitty gritties of it, and then we could how we could advise our clients and business houses accordingly.
Thank you. So, do you agree that currently the issue we have is the fact that IPRs are registered in a particular location? And the issue we have with the metaverse is that it's global in a sense.
Yeah, exactly. This is one of the challenges, because the legal part of metaverse is today also a gray area. It has not almost developed a lot, because as and when the technology is getting into use, we are getting the challenges that what are the IP challenges we have. So metaverse is not for the gamers or tech enthusiasts only, but as a legal professional, we need to understand what are the challenges. Once when a person or a company creates any design or any innovation, then what are the challenges? So the most challenges are that whether the laws of the reality are applicable into the virtual world or not. Into my later part of the discussion, I will let you know how there are some case laws in which it has got implemented, and it is successfully gone through.
Thank you so much. And
Yeah.
if you can just also, sorry, I'll let you finish.
Sorry, I just wanted to add on what Nan mentioned about the metaverse. The end, kind of like the vision of the metaverse is really to connect and have the interoperability, that one can jump from one space to another metaverse space, wearing the same, using the same avatar, wearing the same outfit, and being present. But currently, it's actually different companies are setting up different types of metaverse. Some are very close type that are mostly in gaming. And others are, some companies are really trying to use this as a virtual space for their customers to have a more engaging platform. Let's say e-commerce. Now it's the social commerce, where actually you can interact and look at the products in real life and customize in a very easy way. And also having that perk to interact directly maybe to some of the KOL, some of the fashion indicators, or some of the big key opinion leaders in an interactive and real life way. But I think the challenge right now is that with this developing, the IP rights and protection is still trying to catch up and trying to identify, putting current, what we have current in the intellectual property rights, how we can slot this in to protect in the virtual world. And I think one of the very good part is that with trademarks, it's global, but we need the strategy to help our clients to identify which jurisdictions we need to protect. Because the metaverse might be like the vastness of the internet, but we can't register or protect everything. As Patrick mentioned in this earlier morning session, we need the strategy to keep IP cost and budget wisely, and at the same time, this is for Metaverse as well.
Absolutely, and as we've developed from over the past 2 decades, from Web 2 to Web 3, and eventually we will be in Web 4, these ideas need to develop alongside. And currently we are in a slightly grey area, but laws and regulations do need to catch up because they are aligned to current environment, which is the real world. And so the development has to be in line with the growth of the metaverse, because the thing is, once you come off the metaverse and you're not within that virtual world continues to grow and develop and evolve. And so you potentially have no control over it. But thank you for that, Samantha. It is a case where you can't patent the whole of the metaverse. That's going to be impossible. But being our metaverse fashion queen, can you please just elaborate on the various digital technologies in the virtual reality of an immersive experience within the metaverse?
Yeah, so I think one of the industries that's really getting a head start to explore the potentials and growth of Metaverse is really the fashion industry. Of course, it's a very good platform for people to showcase their brand and also to allow what we've mentioned about the immersive experience, and also to set up their own headquarters in the Metaverse, or to really launch some of the virtual products. And to make, kind of a very good branding. So what does it mean by metaverse fashion is to use the digital technologies such as computer-aided design, 3D designs and software, augmented reality and virtual reality for a virtual fashion experience. Just not the traditional textiles or whatever creating and marketing, but you're now really thinking of your other personality, avatar, and being in the virtual world. You need to dress up. You need to also buy in, nice clothing and accessories. And I think this is where it starts. And I think a very important point for people who are interested in getting into the metaverse is the technology behind it, because before it is the textile, it is the clothing or the accessory physically that you're creating. But now when you're in the metaverse, you're actually creating 3D versions, 3D renditions, and it uses software. It probably uses AI to generate all of these type of work for your designers to then create new things. So it's very important, first of all, to know what is being used, the IP. Does it infringe any other's rights? So it's very important to have, the right agreements, contracts with your third-party service providers. For the designers, the copyright that, the virtual product has been created, that needs to be vested in yourself, like in the rights owner. Because especially in the UAE with the copyright laws, it's important to ensure that the agreements are in place, the assignment that are made regularly because of the limitation in the copyright laws where the only future rights are limited to 10 pieces of work. So what if you have been creating something online and that doesn't belong to you? So it's very important. And also in the initial discussions, non-disclosure agreements are important because a lot of times you might not be the person that's directly creating all of that, but other people will get hold of these trade secrets or some of your ideas, and you have to protect it earlier on by confidentiality, NDA agreements. That's very important. So I think, yeah, all of that, I think that's first point that's very important.
That's very important, thank you. Of course, it's very important to review the terms and conditions and to establish who owns the licenses and IP rights. Thanks, Samantha. Going back to you, Anand, our tech guru, can you just elaborate on collaboration, gamification, education?
Yeah. First, I would like to emphasize on a little bit about what a metaverse is. It is actually a compound of words, two words, that is meta and verse. Meta means beyond, and the verse means root of the universe, means anything which is beyond the universe, beyond the real world. So that is metaverse, friends, for you. So in this metaverse, there are some technologies which are being used or tools which are being used. It works on the three systems are in main use. It works on the VR, AR, and MR. VR is the virtual reality, AR is the augmented reality, and MR is the mixed reality. So you must have heard VR headset. Samsung has filed trademark applications and patent applications for, and many companies, many big tech giants are filing these patents and trademark applications for securing their place in metaverse. Because see, the as early as we adapt the technology, we will lead the race, and as we will if we will start our race late, then we will left behind for sure. So metaverse works on these three, and now we are even talking about XR, that is the extended reality. That is really is not in use, but that XR is the extended reality part. And the most important is that this metaverse has the potential to reshape our world, the reshape we think. Because we all know that from in the last year, the Facebook has changed its name to Meta. Meta, why they have changed? Because this is the next internet of, this is the next big thing in the internet, metaverse. So we all need to understand that as a legal professional also, that how we can use these technologies. For example, the impact of IP in metaverse. So if just imagine, just like you enter into a video game, but you have your own avatar. You can sitting into a room or comfort of your room, you can join this conference. There is no need. So future is this, because at this stage it might be seem unrealistic, but this is, people are doing shopping, people are doing, companies are launching their products there. The Mercedes-Benz has filed 5 trademarks. BMW has filed 3 trademarks in metaverse. This Nike has filed 3 trademarks for Dot Shoot, a metaverse platform for their apparel, for virtual Nike studios, for their apparel, accessories, and footwears brand. Chinese giant banking company HSBC is launching its products in metaverse and filing applications for the trademark in metaverse. The Chinese and South Korean companies are securing metaverse hardware patents, and you will be surprised to know that they are leading the race of most metaverse patents, because the electronic industry is looking beyond the smartphones. So now these are the things which are happening just around the corner. And why I said, because I am in a legal industry, I run a legal edtech company in India by the name Let's Learn Law, where we where we do legal awareness, legal courses, and we harness and guide and treat the students, the law students and professionals, so that they should be ready for the new laws, new technology which are coming to us. So until and unless, so legal education also, the metaverse, there are lot of research is going in the metaverse in the legal industry, because legal education. So first we have to prepare our next generation also, so that when they step into this world, they must be left behind into their professional acumen, because they need to be abreast with all the latest technologies. So these are, so in how, because we are working on the technology, how a student can virtually go to the courtroom, they can experience the mock trials. This is the immersive technology, and immersive and engaging, most engaging platform that we've ever had. This is for sure going to change the landscape. For Dubai, I am from last 2 days, I am just visiting Dubai, and yesterday I went to Dubai Frames. So I had the privilege, there was a screen, the future of Dubai is being shown, and I was surprised to know that on that screen, I saw a window by e-learning and virtual classrooms. So this is what? This is metaverse. Dubai is already talking. This is the future. This is the future of not only Dubai, but this is the future of the world. We need to understand that what we need to adapt from here. So for example, the IP impact on metaverse. The IP impact on metaverse, first, the most impacted IP are the copyright, patent and trademarks. So in copyright, the copyright are not directly related to the metaverse, but you must have heard of NFT that works on the blockchain. So that in NFT, they create designs, they create memes, video, audio. So all those things which are created, so those creators need the protection under IP. That is the most important thing we need to see. And the second one is patent. So whether that the real patent laws are applicable to the virtual world or not. Yes, because in patent, we need the three important steps. That is the novelty, in invention, and that industrial use. So in that also, in virtual world also, to protect the IP, we need that protection only. So these are the things. And the last IP, which is the most impacted by the metaverse, is the trademark. The trademark are known as brand identifiers, because the largest, one of the largest food chain, McDonald's, has recently filed a trademark in metaverse for the word McAfee. So they are putting a virtual store in which your avatar can enter in that, and you can do the shopping, do whatever you burger do you want, whatever the food items do you want there, but that will be delivered in the real time to your door. So this is the what you can say, the wonders of metaverse. So recently, how the IP is getting impacted, or case law I would like to discuss with you all, that a very famous luxury brand, that is Hermes, is filed a lawsuit for against the Rothschild, the Maison Rothschild, because Hermes created a luxury bag by the name Birkins. So the Rosen Rothschild, he in the NFT world created a Meta Birkins bag. So the Hermes brand filed a lawsuit. The jury ordered in the favor of the Hermes, and 133,000 US dollar towards damages, and 23,000 US dollars towards cyber squatting. So yes, the real laws of IP are getting implemented in the virtual world. So.
Yeah. In addition to what Anand shared about the Meta Birkins case, I think what was very significant in this case is that on the first hand, because Hermes did not have the chance at that time to file the trademark covering virtual goods or virtual goods related to NFTs. So the gist of the case was to apply their trademark covering physical goods, which is bags, towards a infringement and to determine whether it is a trademark infringement when it is applied to virtual NFTs. So I think in the US, of course, there is a specific law and allowance for if the trademark is used for kind of an artistic value, then that would also be kind of a defense. And if the other party did not specifically mislead the consumers. But of course, in this case, Meta Birkins, it was very clear that they have used this trademark Meta Birkins to really try to confuse the consumers that is related to Hermes. And so the jury decided that it is of course, a trademark infringement of a physical goods. But for those who are really interested and thinking about entering into the metaverse, it is advised to protect earlier on, to now, of course, with the EU IPO also explaining in their guidelines about how these virtual goods should be applied as specification in the trademarks. It says that a lot of times the nature of these goods, these virtual goods should be considered. So let's say, for example, if it's a transport service, but in the metaverse, in the physical world, it is really transporting a physical person from one place to another. So that's class 39. But in the metaverse, it's actually transporting an avatar from one place to another. And that is not seen as a real transportation service. So that is seen as an entertainment service in class 41. So I think it's very good now as an impact of the metaverse that a lot of the international, like WIPO, the World International Organization, IP organization, and the EU IPO, the UK IPO, is coming to explain these virtual goods or virtual services and how they should be categorized. And I think this is one of the impact that Metaverse has done to create more clarity in how brand owners or people who are interested to protect in the Metaverse should go on with it.
Thank you so much for clarifying. That's absolutely right. And going back to the Hermes case, in fact, the misleading by the creator made him gain a profit, and that was why he was disciplined, because potentially the rights of a creator within the metaverse should be protected in line with the real world. And going back to what Anand discussed with regards to students and teaching them about how to progress cases within the metaverse, it's very important because arbitrations have already started within the metaverse. So there'll be a panelist from which arbitrators are selected based upon their previous experience, and then they will receive a description of the case and review the evidence of both sides, and then they vote within the metaverse, and the case is decided, and the decision is actually automatically decided, so it is very cost effective and efficient in that sense. And the advantage is that the panel has the knowledge of Web3, which is very important with regards to the technology of the blockchain and to decide the case. However, on the flip side, the negative aspect is that if the arbitrator votes as everyone else, and then he's rewarded for that, but if you don't vote in accordance with everyone else's vote, then you potentially lose some of the rewards that you received, and potentially all of that does need to be regulated. And so, how to start the enforcement against an avatar in the metaverse is also very interesting. It's a tricky situation where you need to identify the actual person behind the avatar in the metaverse. And then you need to find their address. And once you've done that, there has been a situation within the UK where the courts have served the actual potential person behind the avatar via the wallet, so the secure wallet. And it's potentially a way to initiate enforcement against the avatar, but you will also need the wallet address. So initiating proceedings is actually the hardest part. And, of course, then questions will arise, such as which IP rights have been breached, which applicable law applies, who can apply for any infringement. We need to identify the infringer to begin with, decide which resolution forum applies, what sanctions can be obtained, and so in physical courts, it's much, much easier to do this. And of course, in the digital process, it's going to be a lot more difficult with a lot more challenges, especially if those are linked to an NFT, because you can't potentially undo what's written on the blockchain. And so the judge will have to have enough technical understanding in order to reach a decision. And then, of course, if you do have a case that's in your favor, you've got to decide within the metaverse who can actually enforce the award, and can a bailiff actually step in at that point to court to get the enforcement done. So all of these issues we will discuss. Can we just confirm how much time we have?
Sorry. On what Samantha had just mentioned. So you mentioned that there was a trademark filed for avatar transportation, and it was classified as 41, whereas in the real world it's 39. Going forward, do you see a whole new set of classes for trademarks in the metaverse? And can it also be extended to industrial designs? Like, will it have, metaverse will have its own set of classes and divisions and, things like that?
Yeah, I think it's very, now it's developing, and I think a lot of the intellectual property offices are realizing that the virtual goods, although when you determine their distinctiveness and determine all that, and it should be compared with the physical goods, but in terms of categorization, it should be taken into account the actual nature and its effect. And so I think one of that example was given in the EU IPO guideline, saying about the nature of a transport services, or the nature of actual maybe a food services, as Anand shared about McDonald's setting up a virtual shop. You wouldn't actually be served real food. You'll be served maybe physical, virtual food. And so what about fast food services? So a lot of that should, as it seems now in the trend, would be categorized in more of the entertainment services. For Metaverse, all type of these services. And I think, yes, as you mentioned, will the categorizations continue to evolve and change and give clearer directions? I think it will, because a lot of brand owners are now trying to kind of devise their specifications in their own way, and it could create more of chaos or uncertainty, even in class 9 when everything is quite crowded in class 9, to be honest. I think there's virtual goods, there's also the smartwatches and all of the apps and all that in class 9. So now there's also clarification on delineating virtual goods in terms of what type of goods and authenticated by NFTs, or whether it's a downloadable virtual goods. So there's these distinctions that's coming up, which I think is very helpful, and we should be aware of to better protect our clients' rights. So I think with industrial designs, I think I see with the community designs, there's also the EU community registered designs. There's also a lot of categories that we can quite creatively think how to protect for our clients. Seeing one of the case, Heineken. So Heineken actually established one of their kind of a promotion of their virtual beer bottle, virtual beer. So it does not taste like beer, it does not, have anything to do with beer, but it's really a marketing campaign. But their beer bottle actually has a very special type of design and outlook of it. But it's only a virtual beer. It's not issued or produced in the real world. But they have also protected it by applying this design of this virtual beer bottle as a real world physical beer bottle. So I think that's a very creative way to think of online and offline type of protection of your 3D artwork now, because people might be saying, oh, this beer bottle looks very cool. I'm going to copy it and produce a real life product. But then, because it has been thought of and they have applied for the EU registered design, community design, I think that is a very good way to think of, how you protect the IP 360, no matter it's physical or virtual.
Yeah, I completely agree, and the same applies for medical field as well, because you can have video games that produce potential medical gadgets or medication, and that's got the IPR protection within the metaverse. So that again can't be copied in the real world. Just going on now to ask Anand a question with regards to, well, we've discussed the challenges, some of the challenges. Thank you so much for addressing those. And my question to you is, what do you think is an opportunity for IP lawyers within this new digital world that we are entering at the moment, Web3, and later we'll go into Web4? And so as it develops and evolves, what opportunities are there for lawyers to get into the game now?
Yeah, as I told earlier also, the IP lawyers has immense opportunity under the metaverse. But the most important thing, we have to uh, pace ourselves in such a way that we are in tandem with the changing technology. Because the metaverse is not evolved yet. It is changing day by day. There are lots and lots of things are happening. So we don't know when it will be said that the metaverse world is developed into entirety, because it is not only a metaverse, because there are interconnected many things. So as an IP lawyer, we there is again the most complex part that IP has to challenge in metaverse is the intersection of the virtual world and the real world. So we are seeing cases on regular basis that if there are any infringement in the virtual world, then the real laws are being implemented. There is no any separate law or something for as of now. So things are developing. So as a IP lawyer, since it is a very rare field and things are devolving. So first we also need to understand the technology, and we need to be tech savvy to be more appropriate and to guide our clients or to advise on any point of that. So intersection is there. The real laws are applicable on the virtual world. Either we take trademark, copyright, patent, industrial design in the Hankin case, Samantha told us. So there is, we can say there are lots of opportunities for the lawyers. That is what I am saying, that I am working on the legal education part of that, and how we can inculcate the technology into the education. So if that we could be able to harness, then surely it will make a difference. So as of IP lawyers, we have the immense opportunity. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I think it's very important for us IP lawyers to really advocate about, the IP aspects of things. With NFTs, the tech industry is very excited because this is, this is a digital certificate that can really now be evidenced ownership in the blockchain. It can be traced to which wallet owns this specific digital asset. But in essence, the NFTs, a lot of maybe lay people will think acquiring an NFT means that acquire all the IP rights of that digital file or the audio or the visual. That is actually not entirely true, because we need to delve into what rights are given and acquired and agreed between the parties. And a lot of times maybe people would not be aware to go and check the terms and conditions that the NFT projects or the platforms are actually giving. Many times, if not, it's not the full IP ownership of that artwork. And let's say Bored Ape Yacht Club, they are one of the one of the more famous Ethereum-based blockchain NFTs projects. They in their terms give commercial use and commercial rights. It's a worldwide unlimited license to use their NFT and also create merchandise out of their own NFT. But actually, not all the projects do that. And it's also important to be aware that terms and conditions can change as well. So it's very important for us to advocate on while the tech is developing, the IP law and protection and awareness should be advocated as well.
Yeah, that's absolutely correct. Just because you have permission to use IPR within the metaverse doesn't mean you have the actual authority to exploit it to your advantage. I'm just coming to another question now with regards to the fashion market and being our fashion queen there. Can you just explain to me, in your view, what is the project growth over the next few years?
Yeah, so there are quite a few studies on, the potential and the growth of the metaverse fashion industry, and reports do show that, within, the upcoming 4 or 5 years, the growth would be, to up to 6 billion, and it will continue to pick up. And the forecast is that a lot of the big brands, maybe a certain portion up to maybe like 5-6% of their income would relate to maybe physical digital or virtual digital goods in terms of their sales. So I think this has a lot to do with our upcoming generation and how they spend. Maybe previously the spending would be what we really see, but now even talking to a lot of the younger people, the assets to them is really virtual assets. Makes a lot of sense. Just like being, in the Roblox, one of kind of a metaverse gaming platform. Gucci sold one of their limited edition bags there, and it's even more expensive than the real life bag. But there are kids that are willing to give such high price to purchase it because they see value in it. So I think this is why people see growth. But of course, in the recent, the Metaverse Fashion Week, so on Decentraland, one of another gaming type of Metaverse, which also incorporates the Web3 elements. So the land is also an NFT. They also sell accessories and all of that in-game assets in NFTs. There is within the past year, they're seeing that the attendees of the Fashion Week has dropped half. But over 60 brands are still participating in it. They know and they see the future potential of it. But of course, maybe now with all the things resuming back to physical, there is less excitement about it, but I don't think it will go away because of the nature of allowing people to do a lot more immersive customization, real life engagement, virtual engagement. I think that would be the fashion world in the metaverse will continue to go on and grow.
Yeah, and they do say if you want to learn a new topic, then learn through a child's eyes, because that's the best way to start on a new subject. And again, there will be a branding issue as well, because within the metaverse, the way they pick up on the brands is not how you would be picking up in the real world. So it's your avatars, possibly, the vision, what they're looking at, and how they're traveling, how the body language is. It will be very different compared to the real world. And so branding issues as well will be a lot more different. Now, going back to the metaverse fashion issue, can you just expand on virtual influencers? Because we do know influencers within the actual physical world can earn potential amounts of money that can keep a lifestyle going. So how, in your opinion, do these fashion influencers within the metaverse work? How do you think that they will progress, elaborate, and do you see a good stream of income coming in through this, and how could IPR protect?
Yeah, so it's very interesting now that some influencers are now digital, virtual. They create they're created a personality in the virtual space, on IG, in the metaverse, but they're actually not a real person. But they do come up with their updates on their life and on the things that they use, and they have millions of followers, like Lil Michaela. There's also various new influencers of different outlook, and so it's going to be a new thing, and I think it's going to be, I think previously people would want to see and differentiate between, I feel like I'm interested in someone's real life and be interested in that. But it seems like in what's developing now, it's not the case. And so like Lil Michaela, she is highly followed, and also there's less concerns in terms of their managers, because you don't need her to be, well, or she doesn't have, negative news, or she doesn't have, a life to herself. So in terms of that, it's better management. But at the same time, her personality and her images are now like all IP protected as well. It's really digital creation of a human look-alike a person in a day-to-day life. So I think that's very interesting, and also it's going to be a new trend that we see.
Thanks. And Anand, coming back to you, can you just elaborate on the challenges of enforcing IP rights in the metaverse?
Yeah, I just, the challenge is the most part that how the IP rights needs to be protected, the creativity. I would like to quote excerpt from the book Flash of Thoughts by His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum. He has quoted in his book that we may not live for 100 years, but products of our creativity can live a legacy long after we are gone. So that creativity needs to be protected. How we could create, how we could, if today's we are talking about future of Dubai, future of the world. So only the technology is going to play a very important part. So today, if someone is creating any art, any text, any audio, any video, any memes, any patent is being invented. So these things need to be protected. So here the challenges we are facing, because the laws are being evolved and the technology is constantly being evolving. So how we are going to counter this? So this is the most important part, that creativity is fine, technology is going on, but we have to keep pace with these changing technology, and IPR laws need to be in such a way that I think this is the time that we must start talking about that how what there should be any special protection to the creators under the metaverse, that how these things will be created, because in the real world we know we have all the laws in place, and if there are any infringement we could immediately file a suit or anything, or we can tackle as per law. But under the virtual world, this is the challenge a metaverse creator is facing. So we need to hold on that.
Absolutely. And, with the IPR law, it's correct that it does need to be upgraded, and we need effective oversight. So potentially they could look into having a virtual investigator of IPR infringements and future-proofing existing intellectual property rights.
I think also the online metaverse platforms might also have quite a bit of responsibility, and maybe in the future, in terms of safeguarding, the IP protection, and also providing a platform for IPR complaints. This could be similar to e-commerce platforms. I think Decentraland also does have some type of mechanism for rights holder to file complaints, and also a lot of the NFT marketplaces do have now have this type of mechanism to complain, to assert your rights, and to request for takedowns. I think it initiated in the space initially because of a lot of pressure from, rights holders, and also different project holders. So once you get into maybe purchasing one of the NFTs, you don't want people to start copying NFTs and minting it into another project. And that actually in the past years is quite rampant. A lot of projects just do like copyrights and and just really copy the whole project and then issue it as another project. And I think this has to go on to the platforms and those people as some safeguards. So eventually, I think that would be one place to file complaints. But I agree that there is a certain challenge because of the additional anonymous nature of Web3 technology, a blockchain technology that. Even if you can identify a wallet, you might not be able to directly take that person or stop that person down. So I think it's going to be a challenge, but I think it could be overcome by when more and more people come together, like producing standards, as you mentioned, like aligned regulations, kind of similar to the domain name type of complaints, like the ICANN, creating online complaints and having arbitrators and all that alternative type of dispute resolution to be available. I think that would need to be developed.
And if you can just address the permanent injunction, as in, stop the continuation of promotion of an IPR on the Metaverse.
Yeah, I think, so the latest development of the Meta Birkins case is also interesting in terms of the issuance of the permanent injunction by the courts in the US, which actually seeks to stop permanently the promotion and the continuous placing on sale of this project, of this NFT, Meta Birkins NFT on different platforms. It was decided because that it was seen that there is irreparable damage caused to Hermes, and of course the money, the damages that Rothschild is giving to Hermes is not sufficient. Rothschild is held to actually pay up all the royalties, all the illegal gains from the project. But if it continues on to the NFTs continuously still on the market and selling, he will continuously get royalties because of the nature of smart contract, placing this royalty automatically, and it goes into his wallet automatically. So there has to be certain new ways of stopping this type of infringement online. And one of the requests of this permanent injunction is also to airdrop the injunction order to all of the NFT holders of Meta Birkins, so that they are all aware of this injunction order, to make it, to also make a point that for those who are investing in NFTs or in the Metaverse, to also be aware that there are risks of IP infringements or risks related to IP. So I think that's very good to see that the courts are trying to fill in some of the gaps. I think it's still, in terms of being a holder of an NFT and wanting to take action against another party, I think there still seems to be a gap in terms of how do you prove that that wallet and your name, links together, and that you have the right to take and file an action. I think there's still kind of this gap because wallets are not named. There's no, you don't have to put in your personal information into that wallet. And that's the whole idea of it, is decentralization and the anonymous of your identity for the wallets. But this will be also a challenge in terms of, okay, once I get an NFT, once I hold, the IP of it, how do I enforce it? That's also another interesting challenge.
Yeah. And just going back to gaming and wearables, particularly the younger generation, just elaborate on the wearables inspired by game characters and how that can be protected.
Yeah, I think it's also another big trend is that a lot of big brands now collaborate with some of the existing metaverse gaming platforms to issue maybe some limited edition wearables like shirts and like LV, Balenciaga. They all kind of license their rights to collaborate, and I think it's very important as a brand owner to identify the scope of that license and how and where and what platform and what jurisdiction. That's all very important. And I think another very interesting case that recently was raised was the Burberry. The Burberry tried to file a trademark for its pattern, for their very famous checkered pattern against beige background. That was actually refused by the EU IPO based on the lack of distinctiveness. I think this is very interesting because Burberry actually does own a registration for their checkered design as a trademark. But in the decision, it was held that it lacks distinctiveness when used in terms of virtual goods. But at the same time, the examiner also mentioned that the examination of this type of trademark should be similar to what is it in the physical world. So I think it's a very interesting development and also challenging for brand owners, especially when an NFT that looks like having a Burberry jacket will actually have a lot more value. And so that's going to be a challenge, but at the same time, I think that Burberry will appeal, the rights owners will appeal, and we will look at the development of that.
Thank you. And finally, Anand, can you just elaborate on the international collaboration and regulations?
Yeah, as of now, I told that the international regulations, there are no specific regulations as today we are, but it has been now talk of the town because the things the things which are evolving in a way. So the governments, the different boundaries, because see the trademarks, we are a member countries, many member countries to the treaties. So we all those are applicable as standard parameters are set, but for international collaborations and all the governments are working, but as of now there is no specific thing we are need, but that is what I said, this needs to evolve as early as possible, okay, so that we can tackle the challenges or all over which we are facing in the metaverse.
That's correct. So we are entering a brand new world with brand new challenges where human beings are controlling the avatars and making the decisions in multiple countries, in multiple cultures. And all of these adjustments are necessary to regulate the human interaction in this digital connected world, or I should say worlds. With that, today's session has come to a conclusion, unless the panelists have anything further to add, and we would invite the audience to ask any questions. So please do raise your hands and we will address your questions best we can. Thank you. Any questions?
Sorry, here. One of the first things that jumps out is when you talk about patents and the metaverse, it looks like all of them would be software.
Yeah.
So automatically, 90% of the jurisdictions, it's out the window. Do you have any comments on that?
Yeah, as far as when meta and patents come into metaverse, it has a two variables. One is the hardware and one is the software. The hardware is the part, the equipment which we are using, the VR handsets and all, and software is the simulations which we are talking about. That the a real virtual world where everything is VR. We don't need to come to Dubai in the comfort of your home. So these are the two components for the patents in Metaverse?
I think our panelists have answered all the questions that they've gone along.
I have one question.
Great.
So one of the things that you mentioned was that the example that you gave for Samantha gave for transport. In the real world, it's different versus. Uh, it's a question as well as a suggestion in terms of what I feel is the purpose of a trademark is more important than what it is used for. So, for example, if you're transporting an avatar from in the metaverse, vis-a-vis you're transporting in the real life, it still should be considered as a transport. Only then the real life laws will be of importance or applicable on in the metaverse. Because if we change the classes, then as you said, there'll be a whole set of new classes that will have to come, and the entire gamut of classes and everything will change. So I think somehow we need to find a way of applying the present laws as such, of course with some mandatory changes, but a present law as such in the metaverse or the virtual world as well. Your thoughts on that, please?
I think it's great that there are more explanation or clarity in terms of how some of the IP offices view in terms of how they specify. And I agree that it can't be a whole new set of it because then it will create chaos. But as they develop into explaining how they differentiate in terms of if it's on a metaverse and it is related to entertainment, then although it seems that it is a transporting services. Let's say you are having, a metro in the metaverse, but it is still, in a sense, it is creating. It is a virtual transport service in the metaverse for entertainment. So that's how it's kind of now viewed to be categorized. But I don't think in the future that they would actually change everything around into a sense that it's not going to be. It's going to be a new set of services, but it won't be the same class as what it is in the physical world. That's what it seems to be going towards.
Yeah, and the challenge potentially is that the metaverse needs to adopt the laws and regulations of this world. So it shouldn't be the other way around. But as the area develops, let's see, it is a potentially grey environment at the moment, and we are using the actual laws and regulations we have currently in place in the virtual world, which potentially are not working. And rightly, the metaverse should adopt the laws and regulations we have here, but they need to be aligned somehow. And as we step forward, we evolve, those regulations are going to continue to. So the debate will probably last a very long time. It's not a quick fix solution, unfortunately.
Yeah, I think it's still, everything is still in discussion, debate. Maybe certain jurisdictions would do this, but I think it will have its time to develop.
Any more questions?
Sorry, just to add to what you just said, I think it would definitely, sorry. Excuse me, please. Thank you. What I was thinking was maybe we need a revision of the classification, and now is the time for us to maybe, try to get into WIPO, because we need to, basically revise each class in accordance with the metaverse. So I think that's something that we really need to work on, and that's going to help us as practitioners as well, because it also places us in a predicament sometimes where we listen to what our clients say and we try to get that specification extremely accurate, but then they sometimes leave out something which is huge, and then you can never add to. You've got to file a new application because of that. So I think a revision will definitely be something that is necessary, and we've got to look at ways of maybe getting in touch with WIPO and requesting their assistance with this especially. Thank you.
Yes, I think so. There are certain slight amendments to them adding, the NFT as the virtual goods in class 9, and there's certain developments to it. But in terms of all the virtual services, we don't have a very clear guidance or a very clear line into how we kind of detailedly specify. So I agree that it's important to continue to be involved in this development so that we can move it towards a direction where we feel that it helps both in terms of the IP owners and also create clarity.
Question on the back.
Hi, my name is Jing from Malaysia. So my question is directed to anyone from the panel. My question is, what is your opinion on the valuation of IP in the metaverse and the physical? Would it differ vastly when it comes to valuation? Yeah. Thank you.
I think valuation in terms of IP would really depends on how it's protected and how it's used, its potential. So I don't think it'll necessarily differ because it's a virtual or physical. It really depends on how the project or how the brand or how it is protected as a package.
Yeah, I would like to add that if you talk about the virtual assets or so, it is also intangible form. Okay, so if we talk about the valuation, so it will have the same power we talk about the IP assets. So there would be no much difference in that. It depends on the branding and what the value asset has possessed during the period of time of its evaluation. That is the most important.
But of course, I think in terms of maybe valuation, it could cause difficulty when you valuate virtual assets with the volatility of, maybe if it's related to crypto assets, it could be quite volatile and it could pose maybe difficulty. Or maybe last year, research firms kind of evaluating the potential of metaverse would change drastically this year with the crypto winter and all that. So in that sense, I think it could make a certain impact. Yeah, but yeah, overall, I think it's still how you kind of see it as.
I hope all the questions have been addressed, unless someone else has another. Yes.
Yeah, I just had a question to the panel. It's a very open question, and I wanted to understand, in your experience, how much is the administration, the administrative part, the government part, or the policymakers are actually familiar with the concept of metaverse, because it is actually them who is going to, be filing as practitioners. But how much of, in your experience, are they able to understand, and how much of the training is needed on their part? Because ultimately, if they're not in sync with the practitioners, the whole concept kind of lags behind. So yeah.
I think in terms of UAE, it's doing a very good job in terms of, promoting the metaverse, the Dubai metaverse strategy, having a plan of how they are going to, and also with regulating virtual assets as well, with the virtual asset regulatory authority in place. There are the awareness here, and also. And in terms of globally, I think it's picking up. And there's, of course, a lot of discussions going on. And there is, in a sense, there is kind of a gap between maybe the new generation with this tech, and also because with Web3 crypto, it's not fully adopted or fully utilized as mass adoption at this point. So there's still, the gap for education. But I think overall, it's moving towards a good direction.
Yeah, I'm just going to give a UK perspective. Unfortunately, from my view, it's the case that this decentralized land is moving faster than the regulators within our land are able to keep up. So they might be working as fast as they can, but by the time they reach that point where people were within, the avatars were within the metaverse, they've already moved on. So it's a catch-up game, which they are finding very difficult to keep up with. Again, there's lack of education, and this is why we hold these seminars and these forums to get the to get the word out. And rightly, Anand is teaching the students. I think there should be classes for mature students as well, and that would include someone like myself. So education, regulation, all of these things are being implemented, but in my humble view, they're not catching up as fast as the technology is developing and evolving, and that's what causes the greyness within the area, because they just can't keep up, and they need to find a way to do that.
Yeah, I would like to add on what Sabina and Samantha said, that as you know that I'm running a legal ed tech company. So recently we have, to tackle all these challenges, recently we have launched a course for public policy, and we are working in tandem with the Government of India, with chambers of industry and all, that how these new laws are, which are going to be implemented, where whether the industry is ready or not to tackle all those issues. So, yes, Sabina said that we need education, we need awareness. So that is the most important part, that not only the practice of law is important, but also the awareness of law is also very much important. So that each and everyone in the legal fraternity could benefit from this. Thank you.
Any last questions? That's great. Thank you so much for being an amazing audience. I'd like you all to put your hands together for yourselves. You've been fabulous. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very much to our wonderful panelists. It was really good. It's like one of the first sentences that Anand had mentioned, the laws of reality as it's applicable in the metaverse. If I'd heard that sentence anywhere else, I would have thought this was some kind of a sci-fi convention, with Marvel or somebody, but that's not the case. This is an IP forum. So I'll take this opportunity to present these certificates, starting from the moderator. Please step up, and thank you. Please, Samantha. And last but not least, just stay 1 minute here for the photo op with your